we've got the WLAN Pi project update here for you guys. So how many of you guys in the room are familiar with the WLAN Pi? Awesome. All right. Well, I don't, I haven't even started yet. I just asked a question. Yeah, it's very cool to see, so that's good because I don't have a lot in here to tell you much about the WLAN Pi project because I was hoping most of you guys would be familiar. So those of you that aren't familiar with who I am Jerry Olla. I have been kind of coined now as the WLAN Pi project orchestrator, which I think is a fairly appropriate title because, yeah, you don't want me getting too heavily involved in the coding side of things, so I think that's a good, appropriate title. So yeah, let's just briefly talk about the WLAN Pi project, just to kind of level set things. So this project kicked off back at WLPC, really kind of officially at the WLPC 2016. But yeah, the focus of the WLAN Pi project was and always kind of has been about developing this ready-to-use tool. So I've got one here if you haven't seen it before. But yeah, this is a portable, versatile tool that's really built for wireless professionals. And this has always been a community source project as well. You know, that's kind of why it was born out of WLPC and has continued to be a big part of the community. If you want more information about the WLAN Pi project and kind of that piece of it and how it all got started, check out the video from last year that I did on the WLAN Pi project, kind of goes through some of the history and more of those details. I also wanted to kind of start off just kind of level setting things from the standpoint of there's people much smarter than me behind this project. So these are just some of them. This was probably the people that have been the most active over the last year with a lot of the development. So yeah, this has been, these guys are the ones that are behind the scenes doing all the awesome coding and new tools and coming up with all this really creative stuff. And yeah, I'm just kind of the orchestrator that brings everything together and publishes the image and hits the release button. Is kind of more of my role in the process. Like I said, there's more people than this. This was just going through kind of the list of all the latest things that we've done from WLPC last year to currently. And these are the people that are kind of behind the scenes doing that. A lot of them are here today, you know, in the room here with us today. So definitely give them some kudos if you're using the tools and things like that. Most likely they had something to do with it. All right, so what's new? So from last year to this year, one of the things that's pretty exciting is just adding more support for more adapters. So this is something, you know, we started off with just a, you know, maybe one adapter that could support all the features that we're doing. You know, we're really leveraging every kind of capability of these adapters from the sense of, you know, we're not just using them as client devices, right? You know, we can use a lot of adapters just as a client adapter, but if we want to do things like monitor mode, packet injection, those kinds of things, then we need some very specific chipsets, some specific adapters that are going to give us those capabilities. So yeah, there's a few of them. We've added support for MediaTek adapters, and that's really opened up a new possibility of different sizes of adapters, different capabilities of adapters, and just gives us more flexibility, you know, where we're not reliant on a specific adapter. So yeah, there's more to come on that in future releases, but we're heading in the right direction there. So yeah, WLAN Pi, we've got the handheld edition now of the WLAN Pi. Joel's gonna probably give a talk more about this later, so I won't steal his thunder on that. He's the one that's done all the heavy lifting on this particular piece of the project. He also did an awesome 10 talk about this whole kind of development process at WLPC in Prague, so check out the YouTube video on that. But yeah, let's talk about some of the new features then in the WLAN Pi image. So a lot of heavy lifting from last year to this year around the front panel menu system and really tapping into some really useful information that we can get out of the network that the WLAN Pi is connected to. So you know, starting off with just being able to see what the public IP address is of the network that the WLAN Pi is plugged into. But then this new reachability utility tool that can actually, as soon as you plug the WLAN PI in, instantly just starts, trying to access the internet and tells you can it reach the internet or not. So that can be, really handy, just to, something that can fit in your pocket. You can just take that out. You don't need to, I don't know, there's other utilities, other tools out there that can do this, but not something that's this, versatile that you can just, pull this information up really quickly. And then on top of that, you can even do a speed test. So not just does the internet work, what are the speeds that I'm getting? So all this right from the front panel menu, you don't have to CLI or anything like that. Now this is where we really start to get into some enterprise features, right? So we've got the ability now to pull in things like CDP neighbor detection and being able to see the CDP neighbor info. And then also the LLDP neighbor detection. So just, I know I went kind of faster, but yeah, the CDP info, you can see some of the useful info you can get there off the switch. So, not just the IP address of the switch, but, what the port is configured from a VLAN standpoint. I had the opportunity to use this on the last project that I was just on. Came in super handy of, if an access point couldn't reach the controller, I could unplug the AP, plug it into the WLAN PI, pull up all the switch info, provide that to the networking team and say, right away I could tell them, hey, the VLAN's not configured correctly on this port. Here's the port number, here's the switch info, and we could resolve the problem much faster. So there's the LLDP info. I was pretty impressed with some of the devices out there, even, some of the, less enterprise side of things, are providing things like LLDP info now. It's becoming very commonplace to see this on, even some of the lower end gear. So this can be pulled off of a lot of equipment to help you out in your troubleshooting. And just a lot of other network information. So we kind of just went through, what useful information do we need as engineers that we could pull on this little device, this little display that we have on us. Even just things like, what's the DHCP server address? What's the, obviously, the negotiated speed. Here you can see with this device that we're plugged into, what the DHCP server address is. We negotiated at a gigabit. We're getting full duplex. So that can be obviously helpful in troubleshooting. Also even shows, what DNS that you got, default gateway, all that kind of information, even the subnet. So a couple other tools that we've added is the speed test CLI. So we've had a bunch of, just the closed loop testing tools of iPerf and all those kind of things. But what if we need to be able to do, also test the internet? What if we want to be able to do an iPerf test and then do a speed test and script all that, right? So obviously we could already do like the scripting for like an iPerf type test, but now what if we want to also, as part of that test, do a speed test and compare the results? Speed test CLI opens up a lot of possibilities with being able to automate all that and script all that, and I'll show you in a little bit here what we've already done with that. That's pretty cool. Termshark, if you guys are obviously, I'm sure everybody in here is familiar with Wireshark. Termshark is a fairly new thing to the scene that leverages the command line to allow us to actually run essentially a Wireshark, a lightweight Wireshark from the CLI. So this is kind of cool from the standpoint of if the WLAN PI is remote, you need to do a capture. Allows you to either do the capture and analyze the results instantly, or even do take an existing PCAP that you've created, maybe using TCP dump or something like that, and analyze it right on the WLAN PI without even having to take the PCAP off of it. So yeah, it could be, I haven't yet had this is pretty new on there, so I haven't yet had a need to use this, but hopefully this will prove to be useful to have access to that out in the field. Some new modes. So this is kind of a little bit different direction. So one of the challenges that we started to run into with the WLAN PI is supporting so many different kind of use cases and feature sets that we don't need all the utilities running all the time. So we started to kind of look through things and tried to decide what is kind of the default mode, and then what are some other use cases that this could be used for that we can kind of flip the WLAN PI into a different mode. So we have the classic mode. That's where you're running all the iPerf services and things like that. But then we have some other new modes that you can flip the WLAN PI into, like what if you want to take the WLAN PI and turn it into a portable hotspot, right? And then you've got things like the Wi-Fi console. That's a new thing that we've added, as well as the WiPerf mode. The W console or Wi-Fi console mode. This is where you can connect the WLAN PI up to a bunch of different gear, and you can connect up to actually 8 different devices. So you got your own portable, remote console tool. This is the one that I'm probably most excited about, that I think opens a whole new world of possibilities for us, is the WLAN mode. And that allows us to do some synthetic testing, or we call it kind of like a network probe, where we put the WLAN into that mode where it connects to the network and it provides statistics back. The goal is to try and capture some indication of what that end user experience looks like. So I'll just show you a quick demo of that here. And I have a WLAN set up right now in my office at home, and that's running in the WLAN mode, feeding data into a Splunk instance in the cloud, and I'm seeing the results live. So this is it at, in Wisconsin, where my office is. I've got a WLAN in WLAN mode. I also have a second WLAN that's in classic mode, and they're basically talking to each other at both ends of the network and being able to do tests. So this is the live dashboard, and then we have the kind of overview summary that's over time. This is showing over the last 24 hours, doing that speed test CLI test that we talked about and showing the results of that. So I can see my download has been pretty consistent around 200 megabits per second, where my upload on the internet side is only at 10. But if we go down to here, we can see the actual network throughput up and down on the iPerf test, be able to compare the results, see, is this an internet issue or is this a network issue? That was a real quick overview of everything, but yeah, that's just wanted to give you guys a quick update of everything that's going on with the WLAN project. If you want to get involved, here's some ways you can do that. Check out WLANPie.com, the GitHub, and then obviously on Twitter is a good way to reach out if you want to communicate. Thanks, everybody.